Evening students, and welcome to my channel. So in the last video I discussed with you one of the method of sterilization, that is steam under pressure, and what we discussed in the last was mainly the autoclave. So this autoclave is basically the method of sterilization in which we use steam under high pressure and high temperature. The main purpose of increasing the pressure of the machine or autoclave is to increase the temperature of the steam, to increase the penetrative power of the steam. So usually it takes your 30 minutes and 10 minutes. So depending upon the temperature we are using, 121 it will take degrees Celsius, and here is 134 degrees Celsius. It will take 10 minutes, and the whole procedure is that we clean the instruments, we wrap the instruments in the trays, in the two towels, and then place the instruments in the autoclave. So it takes the time. This 10-minute is basically the time that is given to the process at desired temperature of 121 degree Celsius and 30 psi of 16 to 18 psi of the pressure. So at this, suppose we have placed instruments in the autoclave and switched on the machine. So first the temperature and the pressure will reach at this level when the pressure of the steam reaches 121 degree Celsius under 16 to 80 pounds of the psi of the pressure. So that means after that, when the pressure is reached, we have to wait for 10 minutes and then we have to switch off the machine and the whole process will be done. So many times what happens, suppose surgeon is doing the surgery and all of a sudden some instrument fell down, or he requires some specific instrument which was not planned previously before surgery. So all of a sudden he tells, sister, ye instrument dena, ye dena. Now the sister tells that, sir, sorry sir, this instrument is not sterilized. It is available but it is not sterilized because the previous surgeon has used it and we have only one pair. That is a one scenario. So what we can do, if we do the sterilization of that instrument, at least that will take around 45 minutes to 1 hour depending upon the process we are doing. We have to clean, wrap and then place into the autoclave, and then so to deal with certain conditions when in between the surgery or when sudden requirement of some instrument, something that is not previously planned and all of a sudden requirement occurs. So in that case, Underwood and the Perkin develop another method of steam under pressure that is known as, you can say, the flash sterilization. So flash sterilization means very short duration of time is there, only 3 to 4 minutes we can sterilize the instruments. But this method is not as effective as the normal autoclaving or the sterilization under pressure, where the instruments are wrapped and placed in a machine. So this procedure was devised in case of, suppose in between the surgery the adequate time is not there and we require some instruments which are not available at the time of surgery. So in between, suppose we have few minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, so we can apply this method and we can make those instruments ready. So this method was devised when we don't have to wrap the instrument in the tray. Suppose कुछ instruments ऐसे हैं जिनको हम wrap करके autoclave नहीं कर सकते steam से, और कुछ इंस्ट्रूमेंट ऐसे हैं कि ऑटोक्लेव करने के बाद जब हम उनको रैप नहीं कर सकते तो हम उसको ज़्यादा टाइम के लिए स्टोर भी नहीं कर सकते. सो फॉर दैट काइंड ऑफ कंडीशंस वी हैव टू डिपेंड अपॉन दिस flash sterilization. So this flash sterilization is basically a shortcut method of steam under pressure sterilization process. So that kind of method was devised only when we have a shortage of time. It should never be an alternative to the normal method of steam sterilization. So mainly it is avoided for the things which are, you can say, the implants which are to be placed in the body cavities. So this is to be avoided. So but many times this kind of flash sterilization is required in case of orthopedic practice. So what happens, because when we plan according to your x-rays and CT scans, we think that this number of plate will be required, this number of, you can say, the rod will be required, or these are the screws will be required. But actual scenario, when the patient surgeon is operating, the actual scenario seems to be very different. So what happens that, suppose we have planned ki this rod will be required, this nail. So when we you can say the place the nail into the bone marrow, so we find that the cavity is too thin and we are not able to negotiate. We have to immediately ask for other size much smaller, which was not expected according to the size of the patient. Sometimes extra screws are required because many times the screws either they fell down or not working, or the thread of the screw is destroyed during the procedure. So in these cases, this is the exceptional case where we have to depend upon the flash sterilization. So why it should be avoided? Because it is not as effective as the autoclave normal procedure, but it can be done for some other things which are not implanted in the body cavities, except in case of orthopedic surgical procedures where all of a sudden requirement occurs and the whole of the surgical field is open and we cannot close to, or we cannot wait for such a long time, 1 hour, for the normal autoclave procedure. So what in this case, what are the conditions? Suppose this is the flash sterilization. So the main indication is short time, and in case of orthopedic surgery for plates and screws. And main disadvantage is it is not as effective. So there is always a potential of serious infection when we sterilize the equipment with this. So this, and what are the conditions here? The temperature is 134 degree Celsius and 30 pounds psi of pressure. So temperature is high and your pressure is high. So this, if you read the books, the range will be there. Some will write 132, other will write 26 to 28, somebody writes 30 pounds of pressure. So depending upon, so this is the basically the range 130 to 134 and 26 to 30 degree psi of the pressure. So this method should never be your alternative to the normal autoclave. It is used in between the surgeries when all of a sudden some requirement occurs because of shortage of some screws or plate that is not fitting into the pre-planned, you can see the space that is present in the orthopedic practice. So this method of sterilization is not as effective, and it should always be used as an emergency when you don't have any other option except this flash sterilization. Though it is not as effective as a normal autoclave process, but it is more effective than your other chemicals which are required for in those methods where the immersion of the equipment or the nails is required into the solution, and for that it will take a longer time than this 3 to, you can say, this 5 minutes time. So for this we have to depend on this method. So thank you very much, and in the next chapter we will discuss about the thyroid anatomy. Thank you very much, and please don't forget to subscribe my channel. Thank you.